A strong campaign war chest is critical for any election. We're following the money in the race for San Diego mayor.
The answer as to why it's not being vigorously addressed, nothing bad's happened. Yet.
New details on security breaches at airfields around the nation, the people who managed to sneak past secure perimeters, and the surprising response from the TSA.
I think what you get by coming to a show like this, a circus show, you get that shock and awe.
It's not too late to run away and join the circus production that is trading in the big top for the theater. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are practically neck and neck. There is new evidence today of a very close race for the Democratic presidential primary in California. The Public Policy Institute of California poll shows Clinton with 46% of the vote to Sanders 44%. It includes independents who say they'll vote in the Democratic primary. The poll also looked at the race to replace retiring U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer. 27% of voters support Democrat Kamala Harris. 19% support Democratic Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. And many people saw this one coming. Donald Trump hit the so-called magic number today. He now has enough delegates to claim the Republican nomination for president. Several Republican delegates told the Associated Press they will support Trump at the National Convention in July. Their support gives Trump more than the 1,237 delegates needed for the nomination. Opponents of Donald Trump are preparing for his rally in San Diego tomorrow by throwing banner-making parties around the county. They're creating posters they plan to hold up in protest outside the convention center, saying things like, "Love Trump's hate." San Diego resident Martina Pappas was at one of the parties, and she says she's against him because of his negative comments about Mexicans.
You don't go to the presidency insulting, degrading people.
Meanwhile, Trump supporters are looking forward to his visit and printing out their tickets to the rally. The San Diego mayor's race is just around the corner. A broad-based fundraising network and constellation of well-funded political action committees have given incumbent Kevin Faulconer plenty of firepower. That's not so much the case with his two opponents. iNews Source reporter Joe Girardi has been following the money in the race. Joe, what can you tell us about how Faulconer is doing?
Well, David versus Goliath doesn't quite do it justice. As of last Friday, the mayor had raised at least $1.2 million, and that's just his campaign. An allied independent committee had raised more than $600,000 to support him. Democrat Ed Harris and independent Lori Saldana had raised $48,000 and $31,000 respectively.
Yeah, that's quite the advantage Faulconer's got. How did he get it?
Well, first of all, he started raising money last June. That time allowed him to build a broad fundraising base. As of last Friday, his campaign had 2,400 individuals averaging $500 apiece donating. That's one part of it. The other is that independent committee, that super PAC backing him. They don't have to abide by campaign contribution limits, and so they've taken 5- and 6-figure checks from PACs representing the Chamber of Commerce, construction companies, developers, hoteliers, and other business interests. This independent committee can't donate directly to Faulconer's campaign, but they can send out mailers, conduct polling, and run get-out-the-vote operations to boost his candidacy.
Do Harris or Saldana have a super PAC backing them?
No, neither one of those have independent committees spending money on their behalf. Ed Harris did get a $21,000 donation from the county Democratic Party. That's the maximum a party can give to a candidate. The biggest donor to the Democratic Party is the San Diego Municipal Employees Association, the labor union that represents many city workers. Saldana is running as an independent, and no committees have popped up to support her.
Thanks for keeping us in the know there, Joe.
Anytime, Maya.
And viewers curious to know who else is backing those committees can find a searchable database of campaign contributions online at inewssource.org. And Congressman Duncan Hunter's campaign finances are getting plenty of scrutiny. Federal officials have inquired about questionable expenditures, and the candidate's staff is doing damage control. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson says all that fuss may not add up to change on Election Day.
This rural area just outside of Descanso lies in U.S. Representative Duncan Hunter's congressional district. It is Duncan Hunter's home turf. He's won 4 overwhelming elections here, and he's poised to win another. But the congressman is getting extra scrutiny this year. A 2015 campaign disclosure form reports money was mistakenly used for $1,300 worth of video game purchases at an online gaming site. The congressman called it a mistake by his son, and he held off repayment while contesting the charges. The Federal Elections Commission also flagged a school tuition payment, formally requesting an explanation in April. Hunter has since paid back $12,000 of personal or mistaken charges to his campaign fund. That includes spending on oral surgery, that private school tuition, and a garage door. There are also unanswered questions about spending charged to campaign credit cards, including spending on groceries, gasoline, and utility payments. Hunter didn't respond to interview requests, and his chief of staff, Joe Casper, wouldn't answer questions on the record. But Casper did issue a statement, and it says, quote, Representative Hunter identified certain problems and took immediate corrective action. He's doing a comprehensive, independent audit and will act on the recommendations. The statement continues, he's also coordinating with the FEC right now to resolve the issue, to include the independent audit. He's absolutely committed to addressing the problems he identified, unquote.
It's just not fair, it's not right, and we deserve better, and his constituents deserve better.
San Diego County Democratic Party Chair Francine Busby issued a scathing public letter admonishing the congressman. She called Hunter an embarrassment. She says the unflattering media coverage points to the lawmakers' incompetence, arrogance, and dishonesty.
I believe that the investigations that are underway have to be completed. I believe that there has to be some sort of judgment. I don't think it's going to happen by June. I don't think it's going to happen by November. But I don't think it should go without investigation. I don't think it should go without some kind of accountability and, if necessary, some kind of punishment.
Francine Busby wants the voters in this rural district to vote for a different candidate, but the Democratic Party's offering in this race, Patrick Malloy, has raised no money. And even Francine Busby admits he's a long shot.
I'm not suggesting a Democrat is going to be able to win in that district. I understand that. But it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be held accountable and be allowed to excuse this as a mistake and his son's problem and taking the card away from his wife. This is serious.
Political consultant Laura Fink says an opposition party faces an uphill battle in the 50th district. The district's registered voters are overwhelmingly Republican, and incumbents have a huge fundraising advantage. Even so, she says a solid challenge can be mounted.
Weakness in an incumbent is revealed when mistakes like these are made and when public hiccups happen. So if there's any opportunity, it's under these sorts of circumstances.
Fink says timing is an issue in this case. The financial questions weren't made public until after the slate of candidates was set. That made it tough to field a strong opponent. She says the real opportunity for change comes in a future election cycle. Members of the House of Representatives have to run every 2 years.
I think there needs to be a viable candidate with backing and financing that appeals to the political ideology of the district, which right now, even though the registration gap is narrowing, is a solidly Republican district. Even the independents lean conservative in the 52nd.
Fink says if the Federal Election Commission finds wrongdoing, that could play a role in the congressman's political future. Now, Hunter's chief of staff, Joe Casper, says his office employed a Washington law firm to conduct an audit of campaign finances. The results of that audit will be shared with the Federal Election Commission. It's not known when the results of the audit will be made public. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
And video journalist Nick McVicker helped produce that story. Persistent problems with security remain at San Diego International and airports around the nation. A new Associated Press investigation shows security breaches remain as frequent as ever. As Peter Banda reports, this is despite investments to fortify the nation's airfields.
At San Francisco International Airport last year, this woman drops some of her belongings and slips past a gap in the fence. Police say she later tried to flag down a plane. Airport perimeter security received increased scrutiny after a teenager survived a flight to Hawaii in April 2014, hidden in a jetliner's wheel compartment. He had scaled the fence at San Jose International Airport. Yet, despite that glaring exposure of security vulnerabilities, people are still getting past secure airport perimeters on average every 10 days at one of the nation's busiest airports. Such intrusions could be happening more often than government officials let on. Jeff Price is an aviation security expert.
The answer as to why it's not being vigorously addressed, nothing bad's happened. Yet.
An Associated Press investigation last year found 268 perimeter security breaches at 31 of the nation's busiest airports. New information released by the Transportation Security Administration increases that number to 305 over the same period. Many airports are reluctant to release information, with some, such as Boston, flat out refusing. The latest figures were released to the AP by the TSA following a 2-year legal challenge under the Freedom of Information Act. In the year since its investigation, AP found there have been 40 security breaches at those same airports. AP only counted people who got past the secure fence perimeter, not instances like this in Denver last year, where a man late for his flight went through an emergency exit near the gate to try to stop a plane. Airport workers can be seen confronting the man, which is one of the many security measures at airports.
If somebody gets over a fence and is immediately detected and they are promptly challenged, tracked, and then ultimately arrested, then that's evidence of the system working.
Most incidents are benign. Denver International, for example, had 10 breaches between 2004 and early this year. Most involved people jumping the fence at the sprawling airport with 37 miles of fencing. 3 people told police they were taking a shortcut to the terminal.
Someone could easily hold this up and climb over here. It's pretty pathetic.
Marcia McLean, head of the police union that protects Los Angeles International as well as the busiest regional airport in the country in Van Nuys, says more can be done to secure airport perimeters, including adding patrols.
It's unsatisfactory to continually hope that the best will occur when we're living in a post-9/11 world.
Some airports in the past year have fortified their outer defenses. Las Vegas's McCarran Airport put razor wire atop its 15 miles of fencing early last year. The number of breaches dropped from 8 in 2014 to 1 last year. Miami and Phoenix have stepped up their patrols. Faced with continuing intrusions, the TSA and some airports are responding with a crackdown, not on the breaches, but on the release of information about them.
What that says is the government saying, we're not going to talk about security, just trust us. And then the U.S. public goes, yeah, that didn't work so well on 9/11.
The TSA issued a statement saying that the serious daily threat to global aviation requires that the government be, quote, judicious in releasing information that our enemies could exploit. Peter Banda, Associated Press, Denver.
Solana Beach City took a closer look at how Del Mar Fairgrounds affect the city's bottom line. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John says council members picked holes in a new report's finding.
Yes, the reaction to the study highlights some tension between the cities that have to put up with the noise and traffic from the neighboring fairgrounds, Solana Beach and Del Mar. The study weighs costs like law enforcement and road repairs with the fiscal benefits like sales tax and off-track betting. It concludes Solana Beach has a net fiscal benefit of $200,000 a year from the fairgrounds, and the city of Del Mar receives about $1 million annually. Solana Beach City Council members were not happy last night with the report because it does not measure quality of life impacts. When events like the Del Mar Fair or the horse races happen, traffic is horrible. It can take half an hour just to get off the freeway off-ramp sometimes. Though the train goes right past the fairgrounds, there is no station there yet. Mayor David Zito wondered why the report couldn't put a dollar value on hours spent stuck in traffic. Meanwhile, Del Mar's Finance Committee has reviewed the study, and a couple of residents showed up last night to say they found it was, quote, laughable, and they reject the numbers in the report. Del Mar's full City Council will review it next month. In the KPBS North County Bureau, I'm Allison St. John.
A pair of schools in San Diego County are offering free testing for tuberculosis after 2 cases were reported. The County Health and Human Services Agency says students and staff may have been exposed at High-Tech High Media Arts and Southwest High School. Free testing on campus starts next Wednesday at Southwest High and on June 7th at High-Tech High. There were 74 TB cases reported in San Diego County this year. Last year, health officials counted 234 cases. Major League Baseball investigators say the Padres' national anthem fiasco involving the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus could be blamed on human error.
We've emerged, being the Padres, with not only a greater understanding of why what took place was so sensitive to so many, and for that we're deeply sorry and apologetic.
We're also excited about the message that Major League Baseball investigating this has sent out, that they take this seriously, and that all professional sports should use as an example of how Major League sports teams should engage with the LGBT community.
Saturday's fail went viral, causing uproar in the LGBT community earlier this week. Padres officials announced today DJ Artform has been reinstated. He was fired following Saturday's incident. The decision comes after the chorus asked the team to rehire the DJ. Warmer temperatures and sunshine on the way for Memorial Weekend in San Diego. Molly Cochran says weather will remain dry. That's tonight on the KPBS Weather Report.
Temperatures are pretty close to where we should be for this time of year, and as we head into tonight, we'll be dealing with some low clouds sinking in. Pretty typical of what we've seen over the past couple nights, and we will stay relatively dry. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. Across the interior sections of the Four Corners, we can see some shades of green and also some gray, indicating the clouds and some showers, so a little disturbance here, but that's mainly off to our east. We're staying clear and relatively quiet across the California coast. So as we bring it closer to home, nothing to really worry about tonight as far as precip is concerned, but we will be dealing with some lower clouds moving on into the area. So as we take a closer look for the overnight hours, temperature-wise going to be pretty close to where we should be at in the lower 60s for San Diego. Oceanside a few degrees cooler at 57. Nonetheless, some of those low clouds waking up even into our Friday. Going to be a little bit of a dreary start before the sunshine is back out by the afternoon. Also going to be looking at some warmer air pushing into Southern California, so that is going to include San Diego back towards LA. Notice the showers and unsettled weather continuing to move to the east. So another day of sunshine coming up as we close out the work week. So if you have those plans coming up, it's Memorial Day weekend. A lot of folks heading maybe to the beach or perhaps to the pool. It's going to be good for that into the afternoon, but we do have some clouds to talk about first into the morning hours. So here's a look at Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures this time of year should be right around 69 degrees, so we're pretty close both Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Some clouds and sunshine for the afternoon. Then as we head into the early half of the week, we're going to be watching a little bit of a dip in the jet stream come in, and that's going to be increasing our cloud cover for Monday and also into Tuesday. Across the interior sections, pretty similar. Daytime highs in the lower 70s, overnight lows in the 60s, and enjoying that sunshine for the PM hours. Across the mountains, mostly sunny for Friday and even into the upcoming weekend. A little bit on the cool side for Saturday, then temperatures get back into the 70s by Sunday, but nonetheless staying dry. And across the desert, mostly sunny conditions to be had, and our temperatures getting into the 90s, so it's feeling quite warm into the upcoming weekend. For Memorial Day, we'll expect abundant sunshine with our daytime high of 96. Molly Cochran, KPBS News.
The grade. A report released by Heal the Bay reveals more than 85% of beaches in the county received an A grade and 11% were given a B grade. Only Shoreline Beach Park was given an F grade, and a spot on Mission Bay labeled the Comfort Station received a D. 5 San Diego County areas made the honor roll, scoring an A+. Experts say swimming at a polluted beach can increase the risk of illness such as stomach flu, ear infections, upper respiratory infections, and rashes. Statewide, 95% of the 456 beaches monitored earned A or B grades during the summer months. Drowning is the leading cause of death for children between the ages of 1 and 4 years old.
Start CPR. Press, 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 press.
In an effort to help prevent these fatal accidents, Rady Children's, Safe Kids San Diego, and the San Diego Junior Lifeguard Foundation launched the Water Watcher Tag campaign. The designated Water Watcher wears a Water Watcher tag with attached whistle and must stay within arm's reach of children in the water. The Water Watcher is also discouraged from socializing and becoming distracted.
Just turning away for a moment, the children can go underwater silently. Usually with toddlers especially, they don't announce that they're in trouble. They just disappear under the water.
Marcia Kerr has been a pool safety advocate since 1988 when her 2-year-old son Cody died in a backyard pool. She says creating layers of safety, including door alarms, fences, and pool safety covers, is essential to keep children safe around the water. A dangerous City Heights intersection where a young skateboarder was killed in a hit-and-run accident last fall could see safety upgrades this summer. Since 15-year-old Jonathan Cortez was struck by a car near 54th and Lee Streets, residents have called for safety improvements along the busy road. Now, city staff say they've scraped together about $200,000 for the project. City Heights Community Development Corporation's Anastasia Brewster helped push for the project. She says the new sidewalk is an important change for the regularly used path.
This is an area that is highly populated by families. It's a route to school for kids. It's right next to the really beautiful New Roots Garden. So we see people walking along this major arterial roadway that has really high vehicle speeds on a very unmaintained, rocky, trip-prone trail, really.
Crews are already constructing new bike lanes in the area. The magic and wonder of a circus is moving beyond the big top. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando checks in on this latest Circus noir murder mystery from the Circus Collection of San Diego, opening this weekend.
Maltese Falcon.
When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
And that gave Kayla Rose of the Circus Collective of San Diego an idea.
And we started watching old movies together, the old Humphrey Bogart movies, and just getting inspired and writing ideas down, writing fun lines down.
The name's Gibbs, Danny Gibbs. Some of you may even remember me as Inspector Gibbs of the SDPD.
This is a film noir style whodunit play with a circus twist.
We're really taking circus and stripping it of the big top and that ring and that whole kind of arena and bringing it into theaters so that we can show circus in this art form to a wider and broader audience.
It's a whole new way to see circus and see aerial arts on the ropes and on the silks and see acrobatics on the ground.
Instead of thinking of, going to a circus, 10 and having popcorn and seeing elephants and all those things that you would normally think of when you think of the circus, it's kind of like a night at the theater, but, with all these amazing feats of strength and agility mixed with a great play.
Who's next?
The setting of the play is a 1940s downtown dirty club. And so that kind of starts off the play as, okay, there's performances. And like a musical, we're saying lines, and then all of a sudden we're performing and we're singing our lines.
The Circus Collective took on its first case of circumstantial evidence 2 years ago. Now it's tackling its second, the Crimson Canary. Assembling the usual suspects for a noir mystery means taking into account each person's skill set and then tailoring the crime to them. It also presents directing challenges, says Jacqueline Witt.
So the challenges with directing acrobats is you have to have your acrobats stay within character and also have enough breath to have their lines when they're done. So that's been pretty much the biggest challenge I think that we've been having, is doing all these amazing feats of strength and agility and then running right over and being like, okay, and so the next thing, and then you're sucking wind.
So lucky I am a professional.
But it's well worth the extra work.
I think what you get by coming to a show like this, a circus show, you get that shock and awe. I can guarantee that there's going to be multiple times in this show where people are going to be on the edge of their seats thinking, is that person going to fall? Are they going to make it? Are they really going to pull off that stunt? That's what's different than a musical theater where the tap dancing is so talented and so entertaining, but there's not that risk factor that you have in circus and in this show.
Injuries have been one of our biggest setbacks right now and one of our biggest challenges. When you do a circus show that includes circus arts, that's kind of the name of the game and what you have to plan for and deal with when it happens.
The first circumstantial evidence was performed at the Glass House. During rehearsals for the Crimson Canary, the cast had to learn how to deal with the diamond-shaped stage of the Lyceum Space.
So it gives us kind of an interesting view that you wouldn't necessarily have in a regular, square theater. So that's kind of fun because in how the seats are arranged and they are almost like the front row is like right up in front of the action. So we're for sure going to be utilizing those people in the front row.
The Circus Collective of San Diego will also present Circustantial Evidence, the Crimson Canary, at San Diego International Fringe next month. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.